from committee, Committee on Ordinances, Councilman Terrence, and Passive Chairman. Transmits the following with recommendation the same be adopted as amended. Item 4, an ordinance in amendment of Chapter 18.5 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Providence entitled Police, adding Section 18.5-4 Community Safety Act.
Second that motion, Mr. President.
Leader, I understand that there is a friendly amendment being proposed.
Yes, Mr. President.
Do the whip will withdraw her second?
I withdraw my second.
So I move that we add an amendment that will add to the language that no later than 6 months from the enactment of this ordinance, the Commissioner of Public Safety and the chairperson of the PARA shall issue to the City Council a report on the implementation of this ordinance. I'd like to add that to the wording of the agenda item that's listed in agenda item number 4.
Second that, Mr. President.
Motion is made and seconded to amend agenda item number 4 as stated by the leader. On the motion to amend, is there any discussion? Seeing none, on the amendment, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, the amendment passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now I'd like to...
Mr. President.
Are you okay? Yeah. Mr. President, I'd like to move to approve agenda item number 4 as amended the first time on a roll call vote.
I second that motion, Mr. President.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve agenda item number 4 as amended for the first time on a roll call vote. Is there any discussion? Councilwoman Harris.
May I please address my colleagues, Mr. President?
Please proceed.
My fellow councilors, before us tonight is a piece of legislation that reflects years of input from our constituents, our communities, our colleagues in government, our legal experts, and our public safety leaders. The Community Safety Act has been through countless hours of vetting and collaboration. The evolution of this legislation reflects the many hands and minds that have crafted and shaped it over the years. In the final form, we have a Community Safety Act that we can all support. Yes, the CSA requires some effort on the part of our police department. Change can sometimes be challenging. It's often met with resistance. But if history has taught us anything, it's that change is necessary. We have the opportunity tonight to pass a piece of legislation that will model by cities and states across the country for years to come. That's something we're really good at here in Providence. It's really building on each other's strengths. We have the opportunity tonight to make history. But more importantly, tonight, we have the responsibility of making our city safer for our people, for the police officers who protect them. We have the responsibility of ending racial and discrimination profiling. We have the responsibility of ensuring that people in Providence are treated with dignity and respect. Yeah. We have the responsibility of building real trust between our communities and our officers. debate. This is not the time for kicking the can down the road while we await more inputs. There has been a seat at the table for everyone in this discussion, and that seat has been available for years. Our constituents are counting on us to do our job tonight. Our responsibility is to represent them. If you have any reservations about passing CSA tonight, I respectfully ask that you take a moment to remember why you wanted to become a city council. What drove you to public service? What kind of changes were you hoping to foster in our beloved city? Tonight, I urge you to honor the promise we made to the people of Providence when they elected us to represent them. I truly urge you to join us, the ones that have already signed on, filling our obligation to the people we serve, and want you to vote City Council in support of the Community Safety Act. I can't see this done any other way. Policy about people, it just don't work. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate all the work you do, my colleagues. I appreciate everything you do for the city. But tonight is a very important time for all of us. And I urge you to please support the Community Safety Act. Mr. President, I noticed my name is not a co-sponsor, so right away I'm going to co-sponsor myself along with the other colleagues that's here. Thank you.
Mr. President, if I may, I also believe that we have to protect our constituents in the city of Providence and in the whole city, not just our neighborhoods. But I also would like to go on record saying that I think as a councilman here in the city of Providence, I'm very proud to have men and women of the Providence Police Department working as hard as they do to protect all of us here in the city. And I think we're fortunate enough not to have a lot of them. I say a lot of incidents that other cities and states have. And I think the leadership as the chief of the police department, can I finish please? As the chief of the police department, handles most of the situations with the police department pretty good. I just want to go on record saying I want to thank the Providence Police Department, the men and the women of the department and their families. Thank you.
Here on the City Council floor and have taken stances on pieces of legislation that have become historic for us. We can talk about when we passed so that the people that were renters would not have their utility shut off so that they can maintain a lifestyle and provide a safe apartment for their children. When we did that legislation, as I've always spoken of, we were told by bankers and realtors that not one other loan would ever be written in the city of Providence. Obviously, they sued us. Our solicitor's office defended that ordinance. We won. I'm proud of being someone who wrote that ordinance, sponsored that ordinance in the city of Providence. I'm also proud to be a sponsor which reflects
on the new diversity in our fire department and in our police department that are here tonight. When the state took away residency from us, I wrote and sponsored the legislation that gave 10 points to City of Providence residents as they applied to the academies. I'm also proud of taking a stance with some of my colleagues in those years when we sued the mayor of the City of Providence because of not funding First Source, even though First Source had been on the books long before any of us became council people. And that's why tonight we take another historical stance, as my colleague Councilwoman Harris spoke of. When this legislation is passed and enacted, I know that our policy person, Nick Freeman, who's put so much time and effort into this, will call upon the facts that other cities throughout the United States of America. Because what this legislation does, it not only protects our community and the people that we're here elected to represent, but it also protects the police officers by making sure that everyone is working together to provide the services that should be provided to our citizens who live here in the City of Providence. And I know when it's time for votes like this, just as it was with the other ones that I spoke of, and just like it was when we were told that the tax stabilization for the mall was not going to be successful, and we added things into that also. It's difficult, and as my colleague spoke, change is difficult. Change is new, and because it's new, you don't know how you're going to work through that change. But tonight, again, this has been a 3-year process. This has not been something that popped up overnight, not something that's been rushed through in 3 months. It's been a process of 3 years. I don't know how many different drafts of the ordinance that I have. I've tried to shred them so I can be working off the appropriate one each and every time. But there's been discussion with anyone and everyone who wanted to be around that table. And this has been a Community Safety Act, because not only did we have one public hearing, we had 2 public hearings where anyone in any public hearing can come out, talk about their concerns or their support. Either or, either way. We've taken that testimony, and that testimony has been overwhelmingly in favor of the Community Safety Act. Tonight, in education for all of us on how politics is supposed to work. The community came to us with what they saw as a problem, but they just didn't throw rocks at that problem. They came up with solutions to that problem. And then they worked with the people that are involved in creating that solution. And now it's our piece of legislation, and it's our time to say to the people who've put us here, we've heard you, we've listened to you, we support you, because you are the people who live and work in the City of Providence. I urge you to pass this.
On the motion, is there any further discussion? Leader Blinsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. My colleagues, I'd like to echo the comments, the sentiments, the statements of our colleagues as spoken. Councilwoman Harris, so eloquent. Councilman Jackson, the same. Councilman Narducci. I have kept a very open mind on this matter from the time that was introduced, and I've been listening to all sides, all points of view. I support the good work that our police department does each and every day in the community. And for the hard work and just putting your lives on the line for what you do for everyone in this city every day. I sincerely support that. I sincerely want to thank you for your efforts. And I also want to say that I support the needs and the wants and the desires of our community. And what we have here, I believe, is an ordinance that is going to support the good work of the community. How could it not? It's going to support the good work of the police. How could it not? because there's going to be a more comprehensive understanding of what police work is going to be like and how it's represented here in the city of Providence. And when there's a better understanding, it's going to provide for a closer community engagement with the city, who we all represent as council members, and who our officers are sworn to protect. We're all in this together. And this is the time. I view this as a matter of, yes, it's been years since it's been introduced, but there's been such intense dialogue over the last 6+ months, which I would be remiss if I didn't mention the work done by the council office, most especially Dick Freeman, Sid McKenna, and Michaela. Council President, I'd like to acknowledge your leadership on this. The Mayor's Office and Courtney Hawkins, Public Safety leadership, Public Safety and the Police Union, the Solicitor's Office, and the work of each and every one in the community who's come out to various public hearings, to various events, and participating in this process all along. I'd like to extend my thanks to all of you. And with that, I'd like to encourage the passage of this ordinance for the betterment of the city of Providence. Again, we're all in this together.
On the motion, any other discussion? Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Aponte.
Aye.
Councilwoman Castillo.
Aye.
Councilman Correa is absent. Councilwoman Harris.
Aye.
Councilman Hassett. Councilman Igliozzi is absent. Councilman Jackson. Councilman Jennings. Councilwoman Matos is absent. Councilman Narducci. Councilman Principe. Councilwoman Ryan. Councilman Salvatore. Councilman Yurden. Councilman Zuri. You have 13 ayes and 12 ayes and 3 absent. The motion carries. The matter passes for the council.
Any opposed?